Your son, James. He's a good kid.
He's a good kid? A good kid? Why? Does he help the fucking poor? No. He sits on his ass all day, smoking dope and jerking off while he plays that fucking game. If that's our standard for goodness, no wonder this country's screwed.
And what about you?
What about me? Hey. I don't have the advantages that kid has. By the time I was his age, I'd already been in prison twice. I robbed banks. I ran whores. I smuggled dope.
And you consider them achievements?
These were the opportunities I had. At least I took them.
And where did these opportunities get you, Michael?
They got me right fucking here. The end of the road. With a big house and a useless kid, and I'm stuck talking to you because no one else gives a shit. Oh, I'm living a dream, baby. And that dream is fucked. It is fucking fucked.
Let it all out.
I think I just did.
Oh, well, I think that's all we have time for. The same time next week?
I guess. Oh. I gotta tell you, I ain't too sure this shit is working for me.
Well, a sense of overriding futility is a vital part of the process. Embrace it.
Whatever you say, Doc. Just how you feel.
Man, shit gotta be around here somewhere.
Unless they buried it under.
Welcome everybody, Josh here, back again today with a brand new special product review. Today we're talking about this, which is Grand Theft Auto V on the PlayStation 4, as well as the PS5 and Xbox Series S and X versions of the games. Now, this game originally released on the PS3 and the Xbox One, and I really did like this game because this game was a defining game of its time, and I think that this game is even better on the modern day versions of these consoles. And I think that this game, while it does portray criminality in a violent and difficult way, I think that this game is definitely something that you, as a Grand Theft Auto fan, if you're a Grand Theft Auto fan in the past, should definitely pick up and play. And I think that when this game originally came out, everybody was playing this, everybody was talking about this game. This was one of those games that you had to have on your next generation console. Otherwise, you weren't seen as cool. Otherwise, you weren't seen in the hip crowd with the next generation of games, whether that's the PS4 or even the PlayStation 5 for that matter. And you can pick this copy up for $60. I think that the older versions of the games are around $20 to $30, especially with the older generation of consoles not really having as good of lighting as this game and graphics. But I think that for me personally, graphics aren't really everything, which is why I review these games and talk about them for you guys on this channel. So what is the story of Grand Theft Auto V, or Grand Theft Auto 5 for that matter? So what is the single player story campaign for Grand Theft Auto 5? About a young hustler. He's a retired bank robber. His name is Michael. And you can learn that over time that he quit the gig, he started a movie company, and his company's being shut down, which forces him back into the life of a criminal. And you also meet this character named Franklin, and Franklin is living at home with his parents. He's trying to take care of his mom, and he's dealing with a difficult situation. He's going from job to job. He's trying to actually live a better life, while at the same time dealing with the stresses that everyday life pretty much brings. And he's one of those characters that I originally didn't think I was going to actually enjoy, and then actually started playing as this character in the game, and you realize what he's fighting for. And I don't think that living in Los Santos, in terms of pretty much the worst place in the possible universe in terms of that video game world, is necessarily helpful. There's a lot of crime, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of gang violence, and I think that Franklin just kind of generally wants to get himself out of that position that he finds himself in. And eventually he befriends a character named Michael, and Michael is everything everything that Franklin wants to be even more. With the fact that he's wealthy, he has a family, he sees himself in Michael, and Michael sees himself in Franklin, being this side hustler that wants to make a better name for himself. And I think that these characters work really well together, and I think that that is the same way that Trevor in this game also works well with Michael and Franklin. I think that the three of them all together work really well once they're all together. In this video game, there are missions where you do kind of work together as a group, take down criminal enterprises, and I think that's a really cool feature in Grand Theft Auto V or Grand Theft Auto 5. So I think that that's one of the things that makes this game a little bit better than some of these other crime-ridden video games that portrays crime. And I think that crime should be put in a negative light because it is not cool to be these characters, but making them sympathetic villains in this sense, they're trying to get out of difficult situations that I think anybody can relate to in this game. And I think that's one of the things that makes this game a little bit better than, like I said before, third-person shooter, crime-ridden action-adventure games. And there's been a lot of those in the past. I think that eventually I'll get around to reviewing some other games similar to GTA V or GTA 5. Trevor is no exception to that rule. Trevor's living in the slums. He failed a mission in 2004 where he was doing a failed bank robbery. He needed to flee the scene, forcing him to live a trailer park style situation. I think that each and every one of these characters has a place of being, has a place to be in the storyline of this game. And this game takes place in Los Angeles or Los Santos. This game looks entirely realistic to the 1-to-1 scale version of this state in the game. And I think it was crazy as someone that's actually lived in Los Angeles, who's kind of been to LA and is there looking for jobs as a filmmaker and screenwriter and storyteller and having to come back. I think that I can relate to these characters of wanting a better life and wanting to have a life worth meaning. And I think that this game makes a commentary on social media in general, as well as celebrities and mock those situations that they find themselves in. And I think that this game, while it does portray criminality as a violent and gory and bloody method, which these games are definitely known for, this game is not a game that's made for kids. And I think that if you're buying this game as an adult, you should definitely play this game, but I don't think that children should be allowed to play Grand Theft Auto just due to the fact that this is a very violent game. And I don't really think that video games that make people violent, it's just the fact that this game uses criminality to move along the story of this game. You'll be a bank robber, you do heists and play online with friends, and I think that the online portion of this game is fantastic. I do not have any online portions of this game for reviews, and I think I actually played the online portion of the game on my PS4 first before I touched the single player campaign on the PlayStation 5. And I think that the PlayStation 5 version of this game is a little bit better in terms of the graphics. The storyline still holds up into this very day. I think that the characters all have a place for being there, and I think that over time, even though you really don't want to root for these guys because they're criminals, I think you can understand where they're coming from as story characters. And I think that the characterizations of these games are really bombastic in terms of the dialogue, the action set pieces that do take place in this game, the story-driven narrative, since this is a single-player story-driven narrative and told in a third-person open world, location. I think the open world, while it is massive, is something that eventually over time you will be able to master and understand where you're going in the game. And there's a lot of things to do in this game, whether that's riding vehicles, you can hijack vehicles and take down criminal organizations, rob banks, you can fly jets and aircraft and do a lot of whole crazy stunts with your friends online. And I don't have any, like I said before, online footage just because of the fact that I don't really play the online modes per se. I really just run through the single player campaign, which by this point I'm probably being for the review, or I'm getting close to it. I'm on the last level of the game, so if I want to jump back in and actually beat that level in the game, I probably could. There are some boring levels and missions, the cargo rate mission in the game, as well as some different side quests that you do have to do along the way before you get to the end point of the game that really slows down the gameplay mechanics a little bit, but it doesn't take away from the overarching narrative and story of this game. And I think that this game, while it is brutal, it's violent, you can do things in this game that you otherwise probably wouldn't in real life, and I can see that this is a video game. I'm not one of those people that wants to replicate the things that I see in a video game in real life. I'm one of those people that really doesn't like playing as criminals in video games per se, but I think that this is one of those exceptions where you understand where these criminals are coming from, you understand why they're doing the things that they're doing, especially with Michael, who is having a really troubling home life. His movie studio is failing. He used to be an ex-criminal. He wants to get back in the game, but doesn't really want to do criminal activities per se. But then he meets Franklin, who takes him under his wing, becomes friends with him, and especially after his wife is cheating on him, you understand that this guy is really broken. He is dealing with a lot of issues that we as human beings kind of deal with in a normal everyday life, and Trevor's just this gangster who really wants to get back in the swing of things. He wants to have, the same life that Michael does, but doesn't really know how to get it in a way that doesn't involve killing people. And Trevor is one of those brutal individuals that will do anything to have a life worth meaning. And I think that each of these characters have their own perspective on life that you understand and relate to, even if you don't really want to do these actions in real life. And I think that some of these set pieces are massive, and I think that's one of the things that really sets this game apart from other first-person shooters or even third-person shooter action games that I have kind of reviewed on this channel. And I think that's one of the reasons why I stick with Grand Theft Auto. Even though it's one of those games where I really don't like playing as the criminal, I still understand these characters as a whole. And I think that the storytelling is really great. I think that blaming video games for violence is one of those things that I really didn't understand even as a kid. I played Grand Theft Auto 3, I played Vice City, and I think that Vice City and Grand Theft Auto 3 was actually my favorite games in the franchise, along with Grand Theft Auto 4, which I think that those games all had you playing as one specific character character with the stakes and the scale of the action sequences of games ramped up over time, and this game is definitely no exception to that rule. So I think if you're used to the old school gameplay mechanics of playing as one character, it's going to be a little bit jarring jumping in and out of these three different characters. So you have to understand who their characters are as a whole, to understand where these characters are coming from, and you eventually do that at the end of the game. But I think that some of the dialogue in this game is a little bit jarring, is a little bit messy at times, and I think that the story-driven narrative is a little bit disjointed with some of the switching between the characters, but it does work in Grand Theft Auto 5. And one of the things that I really do like about Grand Theft Auto V or Grand Theft Auto 5 is the music. I think the tracks in this game are fantastic, especially the ones that were there at launch. Grand Theft Auto does have this history of actually replacing the music and the iconic tracks with newer stuff when they lose the license for older tracks in their games. I don't really blame Rockstar Games for doing that. I think that eventually you lose the license to play this music in your games. You want to keep that style and track in the Grand Theft Auto universe, but you can't really rely on using that same track over and over again. And so it's a little bit disappointing that they do take away some stuff in the video game from the base launch console version. But I think that over time you kind of understand that, you know, not all of these songs will be there in the game. They'll be replaced by new stuff. So I think that the track released in Grand Theft Auto V was fantastic. I usually don't like hip hop and rap and some of that stuff that's featured in this game, but I think that the music choice that they did have for Grand Theft Auto V was definitely a good choice. And I think that anybody who's playing Grand Theft Auto 5 should definitely check this out, especially for the track listings as well. So, and the Grand Theft Auto life cycle for creating these games takes forever. So I think that with Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out soon, hopefully they improve upon this. If you actually do get to switch between these characters, that you do get to play in these titles. But I think that for Grand Theft Auto players, we all like that one singular character that you kind of latch onto, experience this really crazy and bombastic storyline through over time. And I think that with Grand Theft Auto 5, they really did nail it out of the park, but I think there are some issues with it, even though I really do like this game. So the open world in Grand Theft Auto 5 with Los Santos is awesome. This is a one-to-one, like I said before, replica of Los Angeles, and I think that you can do a lot of really cool things in Los Santos that you couldn't do in real life with Los Angeles. And I think that's one of the things that makes the free roam feature in this game really awesome, is the fact you can go anywhere in the city, you can go anywhere in California. And it's one of the really cool features that I really do like about this game, is that this map is gigantic compared to even the maps in Vice City, which is portraying Florida, or even Grand Theft Auto 3, which is portraying New York City. And I think that all of these game maps really do have their own iconic areas. They all have their places to explore. There's a lot of really cool locations in this game to discover. There's even an area in this game where you go to a New Mexico style area of the map and you can see Roswell, New Mexico, in terms of the whole alien and UFO lore. There's just a lot of really cool things to do within the span of Los Santos, and I think that you could spend, like I said before, hours of your life in this game, not even playing the single player missions alone, but just doing side quests and even just going throughout the entire city of Los Santos, and even the entire state of Los Santos for that matter, just because it's replicating California. And I think that with that being the case, there's a lot of really cool things you can do. There's people still uploading crazy content even to this day on YouTube, and the action gameplay in this is awesome. You get a lot of really cool modern day weaponry from your M4 to the AK-47s. These are different designs from those weapons, but they're all inspired by those weapons in this game, as well as like rocket launchers. They're really crazy just weaponry that you get in the game along the way. And I think that, you know, the gunplay in this game is fantastic. Getting to do these really crazy action sequences in these games, Michael Bay style, which I preference a lot in these video games because they are really bombastic like his movies, it's really cool. And I think that as a video game player, as someone that kind of understands that this is just pixels on a screen, like I've stated before, I think that this isn't a game where you want to replicate this stuff in real life. And I think that anybody that tries this stuff in real life is just psychotic because it's a video game. I think that in the case Grand Theft Auto 5, it's a really amazing story. I think that the characters are awesome. I think that the writing in this game is top notch, like with Rockstar Games normally is. I think the score in this game is really awesome in terms of the music that you get in this game, as well as the music that's featured in the video game itself that they've created for this. And I think that it's a little bit disjointed at times, but not to the point where it ruins the storytelling in this game. And I think that if you're a fan of the original Grand Theft Auto game, I think that if you're a fan of the original Grand Theft Auto games, you're gonna have a really fun time playing this game on either the modern day consoles or the consoles that it's released on in the past, whether that's the PS3, the Xbox One, or the Xbox Series S and X, or even the PS4 and the PS5. So I think that if you're old enough, if you're able to get your hands on that M-rated game, you should definitely pick it up and play it for yourself, because it is an awesome storyline game. All the characters matter, all the characters have things to do in this game that you grow to love over time. The gameplay in this game is still as good as the games from the past, but it's probably not going to be your favorite game in the franchise. And I think that if you really do like Rockstar Games, you should definitely check it out. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of Grand Theft Auto 5. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Which game in the Grand Theft Auto franchise is your favorite? Did you start playing Grand Theft Auto 3, or did you play Vice City? Did you play Grand Theft Auto San Andreas or Grand Theft Auto 4? Let me know in the comment section down below what your favorite Grand Theft Auto game is in the franchise. And as always, guys, rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
About as good as can be expected. But the news is not good.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you did that fucking jewelry job.
Davey, seriously, you're imagining things.
Fuck you.
All right. I did it. Arrest me. You know what? You'll be saving my life. Because you called it, motherfucker.
What?
You called it.
Trevor.
A couple days ago. But we haven't really talked about anything either.
But if, no, when he starts asking questions about why you're not feeding worms south of the Canadian border. Oh, we got problems.
Yeah, no shit.
We're in it.
Together.
So, if your problems are my problems, then I guess that means that my problems are sort of your problems.
Nope.
What if I lose my job? Someone comes into my office, starts reading my files. They'll see the things I did. I know a lot of stuff. I can cop a plea, get 5 years, but you...
Fuck you, you ungrateful prick. I made your career.
Well, and we better go about saving it together, because you and I both know we can't let it go to shit now.
What do you need?
This guy, Ferdinand Karamov. The agency claims he's dead. We at the Bureau think they're full of crap. We think he's being debriefed someplace.
So?
Apparently, he has information which will put me and my superiors out of circulation. Those agency fuckers have got the coroner's office locked down. We need you to verify the body.
So how the hell am I gonna get in here?
Well, you've played dead before, haven't you? I have always kind of liked you. Call me when you wake up. I'll tell you